you are so tied up and bogged down with responsibilities to the point where you lose yourself. Welcome back to the Anchor Show. My name is Andrew. So, if you're new here, welcome. I'm glad that you found this channel. What you can expect here is just really good, honest, open, and raw conversation regarding topics that are primarily geared towards the male population. We not only have good discussions and good advice and so on, from my perspective as a mental health therapist, as a life coach, but also someone who have had a lot of life experiences. So that's pretty much what you can expect here. Just good conversation, good advice, and we can all learn from each other and each other's experiences, and share different things that work for us. So if you're new, welcome. Please subscribe to the channel, and you can also share it with someone that you think might benefit from it as well. Today's topic I find to be very interesting. It's called Lost in Responsibility. And this is basically looking at men who have lost themselves in just responsibility. So to give that a little bit of contrast, I recently saw a trend on TikTok where women were sharing how much they've lost themselves in just becoming a mother. And some of them not just being a mom, but being a wife and all that, right? So they'll show like a before picture where, they look all, so-called body, right? And then they'll show the after picture where they just look like a completely different person, but not in a good way in their eyes, right? And, it shows just how, childbearing can just change the body and your physical appearance drastically, and a lot of women, they don't recover from that, right? But one thing, and with that, it's not just the physical aesthetics, it's also their identity, the person that they are, because a truly committed and dedicated mom, especially just an ordinary working class woman, she's going to dedicate herself and her time primarily to her child or children. And it is easy to lose yourself, not just aesthetically, but in every capacity by doing that, right? Especially if you end up being a single parent. Now, what's not really spoken about almost ever is guys who've also lost themselves in that process. And similarly to women, a lot of dudes become, you've heard the term dad bod, a lot of dudes become fathers and they let themselves go or things just change. A lot of times it's not because of this is what they desire, but it's just by design, right? You've become a parent, you're a husband, you're a son, you have siblings, young children, a job, career, maybe you're trying to build a business, whatever the case might be, but you are so tied up and bogged down with responsibilities to the point where you lose yourself. I remember not very long ago, right? A little bit of self-disclosure here. I remember I was working as a family therapist, right? And my job, my schedule was a bit flexible on some days, right? But I would be literally working from like 8 a.m. until sometimes 11 at night. Not straight, obviously. Like say for 8 o'clock in the morning, for example, I might be putting in some notes from a session I had the day before. And then I'll get on my way if I got to go into the office, or if I got to go see families, I'll be on my way. Maybe I have training to do, but I'm working, right? Then I go see my families. Then I see these families, I come back home, I got to do all sorts of documentation. There's a lot of systems and programs that I have to work with after seeing each family. So I'll be up, I'll come home from work sometimes after 7, after 8, interact with my family, get something to eat, take a shower, and then I'm back on the computer putting in notes or whatever it is that I need to do, right? That's pretty much like a 12. That's, what am I saying? That's like 14, 15 hours out of my day. Doing that repetitively, right? I lost myself. I became a zombie. I was just existing, right? Thankfully, I have a strong, positive mind that kept me going, because I knew that sort of life was not permanent. I knew that was temporary. I knew there was no way that type of lifestyle is sustainable, right? I had doctor's appointments, and I had to choose between, my appointment and my job, right? Now, granted, I will say that my job was pretty flexible or reasonable when it comes to time off, but there are some cases where I had to make the decision to, you know what, let's not go to this appointment, or let's cancel it, and so I can go take care of what I need to take care of in my job. One of the things that I personally enjoy to do is there's a lot of things I like to do. I like to work out. I like to go in my backyard and just chill. I have a garden, so I like to tend to my garden, or I just like to relax in my backyard, right? Occasionally go for bike rides. Love playing soccer. I don't get to do any of those things, right? I love playing my video game, FIFA. I don't get to do any of those things, right? So that is something that is very frequent, very common amongst men, especially working class men, that isn't really talked about, right? But it's a lot of us who have lost ourselves in responsibility. Some of us haven't recovered. Some of us will never recover. Some of us have recovered. And so kudos to those who have found a way to recover, right? And in my previous video, I talk about the normalizing self-love and self-care time, right? Prioritizing self-care time, making it our priority to take time out to cater to ourselves and the things that we need and the things that we enjoy. And that's extremely important, right? Because when you lose yourself, you are no good to your wife. You are no good to your children. You are no good to your parents. You are no good to nobody. You're just not. You might still be a good person. You're a good person. You're still kind. You're still selfless. You're still helpful. But it's like, you've heard this saying where, like, if you don't know how to love yourself, there's no way you're going to be able to successfully love someone. If you don't know how to care for you, it's going to be hard for you to care for others, right? In the way in which they should be cared for. And even if you are able to care for others, you have to care for yourself. Think about when you're on the airplane and, they're doing a demonstration and they said, if push comes to shove and you need that oxygen mask, put yours on first before you put on others. It's the same concept. It's the same principle, right? If we don't put ourselves first, then you're always going to be burnt out. You're always going to be overwhelmed. You will even sometimes feel unappreciated, undervalued, because and a lot of times too, especially when it comes on to children, everything that you're doing for them, all this hard work pouring into them, it can become to a point where they don't even appreciate it. It doesn't occur to them because as a committed, dedicated father, you're working so hard to give them a good, comfortable life, and that's all they ever know. So they don't even really appreciate it. And sometimes from the perspective of the woman, she can take you for granted without realizing she's taking you for granted. Because you do these things so well and you do them every day to the point where it's just like, it's automatic. It's default. It's going to happen anyways. He's going to buy grocery. He's going to pay for this. He's going to pay for that. He's going to pick up the key. He's going to do this, right? And so it gets to a point where you are being taken for granted. They don't appreciate you as they should, as long as you continue to do those things. And so while you're doing that, which is your responsibility, which you should do, you are gradually losing who you are as an individual. you don't even recognize yourself anymore. I was there. I literally felt like a zombie, a programmed zombie that I get up in the morning, I go do what I'm supposed to do, and then I carry on throughout my day, carry on throughout the evening, and go to bed, get 5 hours sleep, 6 hours if you're lucky, and then get up the next day and repeat with an unfulfilled life. So, yes, a lot of us men have lost ourselves in responsibility. And I am a solution-oriented person, right? And so how do we fix that? Well, if you watch my previous video, and if you haven't, please go do it. It kind of ties into this one with what I'm about to suggest. How do you fix that is prioritizing yourself, normalizing, prioritizing yourself, right? Doesn't matter what your schedule look like. To me, that's just excuses. And I get it. Yes, some of our schedules are ridiculously packed and just crazy. But if you don't prioritize yourself, you won't just lose yourself in responsibility from an aesthetic or, social type of way where, okay, you don't hang out with your friends no more. Oh, you look old and haggard, and you will drop dead. I mean, facts. Yeah, you will. Or you could end up, right? And not only that, you drift apart from your partner. You're like roommates. You lack energy. You don't want to do anything. You become old and grumpy. So to fix that, prioritize you. Prioritize yourself, right? Do the things that you enjoy. Make sure you're taking time out to meditate. Take at least 15 to 30 minutes out of your day to go find quiet solitude space and just meditate. Right? If you don't know how to meditate, there's plenty of videos on the internet that shows you how. Right? You could just go look up meditation music, put some headphones on, and just sit there in silence and just listen. Right? Listen to music. Go play a sport. Play your video game. Read a book. Go do some painting. Go tend to your garden. Whatever it is that you enjoy doing, do it. Make it happen. Quit making excuses. And in fact, to some women, that's actually a turn on. When some women see a guy pouring into his care and making sure that he's good mentally, emotionally, and spiritually and physically, that's a turn on for some women, because it's like, okay, yeah, that's a strong guy. That's how it's supposed to be. Prioritize that. You have some female out here who they don't care what's going on. They don't care if you're broke. They don't care what's happening. They're getting their hair done. They're getting nails done. They're going out with their girls. They're doing everything that makes them happy and feel good. And so as men, we should do the same. We should do the same. Focus on the things that make us feel happy, or fill us up, make us feel fulfilled. And, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually, right? Fill yourself up. And once you are a full vessel, you'll be able to continue to take care of your responsibilities without losing yourself, without feeling burnt out, without feeling overwhelmed, or without feeling lost, right? We don't have to lose ourselves, guys. We don't. We can carry on taking care of our responsibilities without losing who we are. All right. So, that's going to be it for today. If you took any value from this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. Turn on the notification bell so you're notified whenever I drop another video. And I do appreciate every subscription, every comment, every interaction. I do appreciate that as I'm trying to grow this channel into a supportive community. So thank you for your support. Until the next video, let's continue to grow, evolve, and transform into the best version of ourselves. Peace.